She sat in that cold marble hall, her once glorious name whispered behind her back like a fallen legend. Doctors said she'd never dance again. The media painted her as a shattered symbol. But when the janitor's son, just a poor, single dad with grease on his hands, stepped forward, held her trembling palms, and whispered, "Feel the floor," everything changed. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. The first time Logan Hart saw her, she wasn't the polished icon on a ballroom stage or the titan of luxury resorts. She was slumped in her wheelchair, alone, beneath a spotlight at the empty Langmore Estate Theater. Her name was Eva Dane. Billionaire heiress, former professional dancer, national icon turned tabloid tragedy. And he was just the overnight janitor with a sick daughter, a box of discount food in his truck, and a heart that refused to harden, even when life kept trying to beat it cold. Logan hadn't meant to stop. But the sight of her, still as glass, dressed in black, staring out at nothing, made him pause at the edge of the stage. "I didn't ask for company," Eva snapped. "I didn't offer any," Logan replied, his voice calm, warm, like a familiar campfire after a freezing night. "Just cleaning. You can keep pretending no one sees you if it helps." That was the beginning. She glared. He didn't flinch. She didn't expect that. The media said her accident was unfortunate. A spinal nerve injury during rehearsal. She collapsed mid-spin in front of a live, sold-out audience. Everyone said it was over for her. Billion-dollar sponsors walked. Her own father called it a liability. Her fiancé, he left within a week, flying to Ibiza with a swimsuit model. Now she sat in silence, with only her fortune and her broken body to keep her company. Until Logan. That night, he returned with a mop and an unexpected question. "You ever hear music in your head even when there's none?" Eva didn't respond. He shrugged. "Guess some people stop listening when the applause fades." She didn't sleep that night. The next evening, he was back. Same navy hoodie, same kind face. Rough around the edges, but rooted like a tree that had weathered storms without snapping. He swept the stage again, but this time played music low on his phone. Piano, software emotional. Eva watched, arms crossed, as Logan slid into a slow two-step, awkward but heartfelt. She hated it. She hated how much she missed that feeling, not just of dancing, but of being seen. "You can't just walk in and pretend you understand," she hissed. "I wasn't pretending," he said, still moving. "I was remembering someone I loved. She was a dancer too. My wife." Eva blinked. What happened to her? "She died 3 years ago," Logan said simply. "Now, I teach my daughter how to waltz on cardboard boxes, because some things should never be forgotten." Eva's throat tightened. Something shifted. It wasn't pity. It was recognition. The third night, he rolled her wheelchair onto the stage himself. Her lips trembled with anger, but she didn't stop him. The music started. He placed her hands on his shoulders, his palms on her waist, and whispered, "Don't try to move. Just feel the floor." She did. And for the first time in a year, she smiled. The lights were dim. The world was quiet. But inside that old theater, something fierce was waking up. Eva hadn't touched a rhythm in 12 months. Not since that moment when her leg gave out and her career crumbled like chalk beneath rain. But now, held upright in a stranger's arms, something unfamiliar surged through her. Hope. Logan moved slowly, deliberately. His steps weren't polished, but they were steady, grounded, real. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered, her hands trembling in his. Because I hate seeing someone believe they're finished when they're not, he said, looking into her eyes. She turned her face away. You don't know me. I don't need to, he answered. I can see what you used to be, and I can see what's still there. The next night, she asked him to bring music again. Not because she believed she could dance, but because it was the first time she didn't feel alone. In the weeks that followed, the strangest friendship bloomed. Logan didn't ask questions about the limousines parked outside or the private nurses on Eva's staff. He didn't care about the magazines that used to worship her or the rumors that now haunted her. To him, she wasn't the tragedy of Eva Dane. She was just Eva, stubborn, brilliant, still breathing. He brought her his daughter's old drawing of a ballerina and stuck it on the wall of the rehearsal room. She made this after watching you dance on TV, Logan said with a soft smile. Eva stared at the messy crayon lines and the little note scribbled in purple marker. She looks like she can fly. Lily, age 6, her lips parted, but she didn't speak, because her chest was already full. But outside those walls, the world hadn't softened. Her father, Vincent Dane, a sharp-suited businessman with steel in his spine and none in his heart, called her one morning. You're embarrassing yourself. I just saw a video. You wobbling like a drunk puppet in some janitor's arms. Eva, you're done. Accept it. You should be hiding, not humiliating yourself. She hung up without a word. And that night, she cried in Logan's arms. He didn't say anything at first, just held her, let her fall apart without judgment. When she finally pulled back, red-eyed and shaking, he looked at her and said, Let them talk. Let them mock. But you get to decide who you are, not them. Eva made a decision. She rolled out onto the stage the next evening, not in gym clothes, but in her old leotard. Black, backless, elegant. The same one she'd worn the night she fell. Logan blinked. You sure? I need to feel it, she whispered. And when the music began, she didn't just feel the floor. She claimed it, her arms stretched, trembling but graceful. Her fingers remembered. Her body wavered, yes, but it didn't break. Logan guided her, step by step, every movement a war cry, every spin a rebellion. At the end, she collapsed into his chest, sobbing, not from pain, but from release. Outside, in the darkness, someone had been watching from the wings, someone who would try to rip this from her again. But Eva didn't know that yet, because in this moment, under the dusty spotlight and held in the arms of a poor single dad, she was not broken. She was becoming. Ava's progress stunned the few who dared to watch. The physical therapist she'd fired months ago sent her a shocked email after someone leaked footage of her rehearsal. You weren't supposed to stand again, let alone move like that. What changed? She didn't reply, because the answer wasn't medical. It was human. It was Logan. The janitor with calloused hands and kind eyes had somehow done what the best specialists and billions in therapy hadn't. He gave her permission to believe again. But not everyone was celebrating. One night, Logan arrived early and found Eva sitting quietly near the curtain. I have to tell you something, she said without looking up. He sat beside her. My father called an emergency board meeting. He's trying to remove me as co-chair of the Dane Foundation. Says I'm mentally unstable, that I'm obsessed with delusional recovery. Logan didn't answer right away. Instead, he asked, Is he right? She turned to him, eyes sharp. Number. But I'm scared he'll win. He nodded. Then let's make damn sure he doesn't. That same night, Logan did something unexpected. He brought someone with him, a little girl with red sneakers and tangled curls, about 6 years old. "This is Lily," he said softly. "My daughter." Eva froze. "I didn't know. I wanted to protect her, but I think she needs to see what fighting looks like." Lily beamed at Eva. "You're the flying lady." Eva smiled. And that was the moment she realized. She wasn't just dancing for herself anymore. But storm clouds were building. Vincent Dane wasn't bluffing. He called an emergency press conference the next week, announcing Eva's withdrawal from public duties due to emotional strain. The tabloids jumped on it. Headlines swirled. Heiress spirals into fantasy life with janitor. Eva Dane seen dancing with blue-collar man, breakdown or breakthrough? And the worst part? Her ex-fiancé, Hunter Graves, resurfaced with his perfect teeth and smug voice. He went on national television and said, "I loved Eva once, but it's hard to watch someone you care about slip into delusion." Eva didn't cry this time. She went to the stage, asked Logan to turn on the same song she danced to on her final night. And this time, she stood without help. Her legs shook, pain lanced through her spine, but she moved. Logan stood back, silent, watching. She stumbled twice, but she didn't fall. When the song ended, she looked at him, tears streaking her cheeks. "I need to show the world. One final performance." He nodded. "Then let's give them something they'll never forget." They began rehearsing in secret. Late nights, sore muscles, ice packs, cracks in her feet. But Eva never stopped. And one night, Logan said something she'd never forget. "I think you were always going to rise again," he whispered, cupping her face. "But I'm honored I got to stand beside you when you did." She looked at him, really looked, and realized she hadn't just been learning to dance again. She'd been learning to love again. But just days before her big performance, Logan vanished. No call, no message, only a note on the studio door. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gotten involved. You deserve better." Eva's hands trembled as she read it. The one man who made her feel whole was gone. Eva tore through the empty studio like a storm, fists clenched, eyes burning. The mirrors reflected her rage, her silhouette blurred by the tears she refused to let fall. He was gone. Logan Hart, her anchor, her partner, the man who brought music back into her soul, had walked away with a note. She read it again. "You deserve better." It wasn't just rejection. It was abandonment, the worst kind. But as she sat trembling on the polished floor, the door creaked open. It was Lily. The little girl stood there, hugging a folder to her chest. "I found this in Daddy's toolbox," she whispered. "He didn't want you to see it." Eva took the folder. Her breath caught. Inside were hospital bills, hundreds of them. Logan hadn't told her. Lily's treatments, thousands of dollars in debt, final notices, threats of collection, and a job offer from Vincent Dane. $500,000 to walk away from Eva. Immediately. No contact, NDA included. The offer was dated 2 nights before Logan disappeared. Eva's stomach turned. Her father hadn't just tried to break her body, he'd bought her happiness. She showed up at Dane Enterprises the next morning with her chin high and rage simmering behind her eyes. "You really paid him to leave me?" she asked, slamming the folder on Vincent's desk. He didn't flinch. "You think that janitor was going to save your legacy?" he said coldly. "I saved it. I spared you the public humiliation. You should thank me." Eva stared him down. Then she smiled. The kind of smile that meant war. "Then I guess you should prepare for the show of your life." 2 days later, the Langmore Theater was packed. People came to see the spectacle, the breakdown, the end. The curtain rose, and Eva Dane stood there, alone. No wheelchair, no partner, just her. The music began. Her first steps were shaky. A murmur ran through the crowd, but then she began to move, flowing, twisting, flying, like pain had never touched her, like heartbreak never broke her. She danced until the air itself stilled, until every breath in the theater held like a prayer. And then he appeared from stage left. Logan, wearing a simple black button-down, stepping in rhythm. The crowd gasped. Eva turned to him, wide-eyed. He held out his hand and whispered, "Feel the floor." They danced together. No choreography, just connection. His strength met her grace. Her power met his stillness. It wasn't perfect. It was real. When the final note played, they stood chest to chest, breathless. The crowd exploded. Later that night, beneath the same spotlight where they first met, Logan took her hands. "I wanted to protect you, but you didn't need protection. You needed truth." Eva nodded. "And you needed someone to remind you you're not broken," she whispered. He smiled. "You did." She leaned in and kissed him. Outside, the media tried to spin it, but no headline could rewrite what people had seen. A woman who refused to be defeated, a man who showed up when it mattered most, and a love story that wasn't born in fairy tales, but in fire. The video of the performance shattered every algorithm. Billionaire dancer returns with mystery man. Internet falls in love. From wheelchair to wonder, Eva Dane's comeback stuns the world. Who is Logan Hart? Meet the single dad who helped Eva dance again. The world that once labeled her a failure now screamed her name with admiration. But Eva didn't care about applause anymore. Because this time, she wasn't dancing for fame. She was dancing for freedom. Vincent Dane lost control of the board within a week. Her bold return, combined with leaked documents Eva intentionally left with a trusted journalist, exposed his behind-the-scenes manipulation. By the time the media swarmed him, his investors had already begun pulling out. When asked if she had any final statement about her father, Eva said only, "Some men build empires. Others destroy daughters. I survived both." As for Logan, he was done hiding. He left the janitor job behind, but not the humility that came with it. Eva offered to clear his debts. He refused. Instead, he asked for something else. "Teach me how to build something that helps people heal." So they started a center together. Not a hospital, a movement. A space where broken people, physically, emotionally, spiritually, could come and rediscover motion, purpose, peace. Logan taught strength and grounding. Eva taught breath and rhythm. And Lily? She ran barefoot through the halls like a child who finally understood that magic was real. And sometimes it looked like her dad holding a woman who could fly. Years later, people would still talk about that night on stage. How Eva didn't fall. How Logan appeared like a ghost from the wings. How one whispered sentence brought her back to life. But what they didn't see, what cameras never caught, was the quiet, unspoken rhythm of what came next. Mornings when Eva couldn't get out of bed, Logan just held her hand. Nights when Logan cried because he was scared Lily's cancer would return. And Eva sat beside him in silence, sharing the weight, the awkward dinners, the dancing in kitchens, the laughter, the rebuilding. Because the truth is, healing doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it weeps, sometimes it walks, and sometimes it dances. As they stood years later at the edge of their center's main hall, watching children with braces on their legs spin beside veterans relearning how to walk, Logan looked at her and asked, You ever regret it? Letting me stay? Eva smiled. No, she whispered, taking his hand. Because you never just helped me dance again. You reminded me I was still alive.